Welcome to an episode of Kim's Whims. That was a great name that was pitched to me by a friend, and I'm going to go with it. It's just for a time when I'm feeling like I just want to talk and be random. And this time we're going to talk about me. I figure if people are going to watch this channel, maybe they'd like to know a little bit about me. Hopefully this, is enjoyed, but, this is my story. So I may do other videos going into more in depth, but this is just an overarching me story. So sorry, I'm not going to do the draw my life. Maybe one day I will, but I'm not a very good drawer, so probably would have to hire someone to do the drawing. But, so let's start as most stories start. Except a little bit earlier. Because my story, I believe really powerfully in the heritage that you are born into. And sometimes people aren't as lucky as me to be able to know their heritage, but I was, and so it's very important for me. See, my grandma and granddad, on July 24th, 1986, they became Christians. They decided to change their lives by submitting to the Holy Spirit and gave their life to the Lord. So when they did that, there was some pretty radical changes that happened. My grandpa, he did a lot of bad things. And I don't like speaking ill of the dead, but it also doesn't do any good to deny your story. He was incredibly abusive to my dad. And he did things like pinned him against a wall and punched him until he passed out, shot at him with a gun. And he didn't only do bad things. There were good things he did too, but he was just incredibly damaged and abusive. And I'm not sure where all that anger came from, but more than likely it came from his dad, who was also abusive. I don't know this for a fact. I'm just assuming. Typically, that doesn't just come out of nowhere. And he really had a radical change. He became a new person, and he was full of so much joy and kindness and love. And I'm not saying he still didn't have a temper, but compared to who he had been, it was radical, the change. Well, so fast forward, it was around December of that same year. My mom and dad go to tell them that they're pregnant. And, they're still not used to this change, so I think they were reluctant to tell them. Again, just what I kind of read into it from the stories I've been told. And they did something that was not popular. And anyone who's from Christian groups back in those days know that this wasn't a very popular thing at the time. Not that it didn't happen, it just wasn't as popular as it is in mainstream Christianity now. And they dedicated me in the womb. So they prayed over my mom while I was still in the womb. And this is the thing that is just so amazing to me. On July 24th, 1987, I was born. The year anniversary of them giving their lives to the Lord. That's how amazing. It's it was being honored, their decision. And so, I come into it, and I asked my mom, and she said I wasn't a shy kid, but I remember otherwise. I remember being pretty timid and reluctant to talk to people. Now, I was eager. I was eager to make friends and stuff, so maybe that's what threw her off. But I dealt with a lot of anxiety towards other kids, mostly because I got bullied. I was bullied quite a bit, and it would be for stupid things like, oh, your hair, you wear glasses, oh, your clothes aren't new, they're old, or they're not the expensive kind of clothes, you're poor, you shop at Walmart or Kmart or wherever it was at that time. And so, other than my cousins, I really didn't have friends. And every time I did make a friend, they were few and far between. Something would happen where I wouldn't lose them. Either I moved or they moved, or, they decided they didn't want to be my friend anymore. And, I had that happen with someone who really hurt me. And, maybe sometime I'll share that story. But, so growing up, I was alone a lot. And my primary source of entertainment was television and my imagination. I would make up stories. I would imagine good ends to movies. I didn't like how they ended, if they had a sad ending or just a bad ending. I would I would put myself in like Dragon Ball Z and, make myself a Super Saiyan, or I would make up stories. And I don't know what age I was when I realized I had a knack for telling stories, but I know it was around my teens or preteens. I started writing online, and why I'm doing this, like, obviously writing online, I'm typing. But I would go and tell stories online. And, I was unfortunately encountered some really toxic people and some gross people who only wanted to do things that I didn't want to do. But then I found some special people, and some people I'm still friends to this day, and they've become some of my longest lasting friendships. And I mean, we would write all kinds of stories from all kinds of different genres and shows, and I just had the most fun. And so I knew I wanted to write my own stories, though. I wanted to be able to write stories, to publish them, and other people read them. So I got in connection with a critique group. It just kind of worked out through my work. Someone, I think they heard that I was a writer, and they wanted to connect me to another writer. And this writer, who was published, she had this critique group and invited me, so I went. And after a period of time, I ended up having to leave the group, just scheduling, and I developed some health issues, one of them being sleep apnea, which you'll hear me complain in some of my videos. I just it'll make me yawn, so when I'm yawning, please know I'm not bored. And it's not that I'm not into what I'm saying or doing, it's just sleep apnea. And, I like these being candid and unscripted, and I'm feeling like a yawn's gonna come on. That's what happens when you talk about yawning, though, too. So I'm sorry for anyone watching who started yawning. I really apologize. I'll try and quit talking about it now. My point is, so it made it where I would fall asleep driving, and that being dangerous, especially at night when I'm more tired. It just made it hard. And then life got busier, and then I got a boyfriend, and then life got even busier and less time. And I'm saying "and" a lot. Long story short, I just grew a passion of anything creative, and being able to be on YouTube, to make these videos and just have fun with it and see if anyone, cares, if anyone participates, if I make any friends or grow my pack, as I'm calling it. And I just want to see where it goes, want to see what happens. As you can see when you look at my videos, there's a lot of music videos. I apologize for how poor quality some of them are. Some of them are really old. When I was pretty young, I don't remember how old, but teen, and I said the year I was born, so you can calculate the age. I'm not a child anymore. So Some of them are not as good of quality, and I go back and I'm like, wow. I want to post them just so they exist somewhere so they can be seen, but I understand if they get a lot of thumbs down because a lot of them really stink. But I still would like the honest feedback, and especially to know if there are any that are good, that people like, or like what I did, or comment on, I didn't like this video except for this one part, you really made it match, and, do more of that kind of stuff, I really appreciate. And, I mean, aside from that, that's a lot of my story in a nutshell. I mean, obviously, way more has happened in my life, but I don't want this video to be too long where I'm just yammering about every little story that's ever happened, but maybe I'll share some of my spooky stories, some of my serious stories, some of my, cool experiences. Maybe share some videos I've recorded. Some of them may not be the best quality, but, hopefully, yeah. Hopefully you enjoy this, and if you have any questions, comment, ring the bell, let me know what you think of this video and what you'd like to hear from me. Ask questions. Maybe I'll answer some in a video, or just answer some down there. Get to typing. Till next time. Bye.